Okay, good. We drew an actual movement card. We had all of our movement synergies, but no movement cards. But we're good now. Now we're golden. That's gonna get some nice Bifrost value. Okay, we're gonna Vulture here, and the next turn Torch Buster here.
Opponent snapped.
He's playing Ongoing Destroyer, and he's got Professor X in his hand. I'm making that call right now. These are Ongoing Destroyer cards. He got Wakanda. He sees I'm playing movement deck, he's got X in his hand.
Avengers!
Assemble.
If it's not Destroyer, it's at the very least an ongoing deck that's running Professor X. So we need to watch out for Professor X.
Flame on!
Mr. Fantastic there is actually a kind of a small brain play because it's getting bopped here, so it's only gonna hit 2 lanes. So the only good lane for him to X in is left lane. So we're gonna go MM Spider-Man here, to counter the X here. And we want to drop something here to counter the X as well. So what I'm thinking actually is do this. Because this way if he has Spectrum, this kind of does as much countering as we can. So 316, we need to get to 24. Probably the best we can do. That's Professor X. Yeah, that was Professor X.
Victory!
Thanks for the 2 cubes. Okay, that's a nice combo. Drop that mid. Bifrost, let's go. Let's go. If this wasn't monstered, I would actually Doctor Strange. Actually, no, I went Doctor Strange that turn. That wouldn't make sense anyways. Oh, man. Fortunately, there's no good way with the, like, Iron Fist Hulkbuster on the next turn. I think I kind of just have to Hulkbuster now. Is this an ongoing or on reveal? On reveal? Okay, I'm gonna blow up his Carnage after we get the Bifrost, which is nice. Okay, so Bifrost is gonna go this way. I want to Cloak here, but then Cloak just dies at Warrior Falls. That's kind of awkward. Oh, I know what I can do. Iron Fist. Cloak. And then it pushes it this way. Okay, that was a smart play. Set up the Viper so that you don't lose your Carnage. Uh, so I think we always MM here. I think we crave in here. Set that up for the Heimdall, all those that way. Set up MM here. Question is, do I move the Human Torch here now? It doesn't matter, it's not getting moved anyways. I guess I do this now in case he has some sort of cheeky play. Yeah, let's just do it now. That's annoying. Okay, so I'm definitely Heimdalling. Question is, so if I Heimdall here, that gets bopped over, so that's basically 2. This would be at 2. This would add another 10. This would go up to 12. That's not bad. If I Heimdall here, that's adding 10 plus 4, 14 minus 6. That's definitely not as good. I think we have this lane under control. I think we Heimdall here. It really depends on what lane he's going in, but I think this is a pretty decent play. Okay, yeah, we made the right play. We're good. We're good. Actually, you know what? If we had Heimdall here, we would have won too because of the Warrior Falls.
Victory!
So no matter which play, either play I was debating was a winning play. Ah, crap. One of my players in fantasy hockey is injured. Why? Okay, well at least I can pick someone else up. Okay, multiple man Hulkwester Dream. Oh my god, swap hands at the start of turn 6. Why? Why? Okay. So I think I'm gonna go Craven this turn. Next turn I go multiple man Iron Fist, and the turn after I Hulkwester. Multiple man here, Iron Fist here. Okay, good. Okay, good. We got it. We didn't get it ruined for once. We did not get it ruined for once. And I reveal first, so this is going through. If only we had Bifrost. Okay, so where do I cloak? Where do I cloak? Really sucks that we're going to be losing our Heimdall. Cloak there because we have the most space. I can move 2 things. And then I guess I just, like, Human Torch Tagger here. That's fine. I'm gonna America Chavez in the right lane on the next turn. That just wins me that lane. Okay, so... Dagger... Multiple man. I think that gives you the most damage there. And then I Chavez here. I think that's GG. Hopefully he stays in. Again, I probably should have stopped this earlier. We had a pretty nice setup going. Okay. Yeah, we win left and mid. And we win right.
Victory.
I don't know why he dropped Heimdall there. Like, I don't think that ever wins in the game, because he's buffing up the Kraven a ton. I'm obviously moving big boys into this lane already. Like, yeah, that wasn't... I'm surprised he stayed in, but I'll take the extra cube. Sure that he was gonna win, I retreat, and he only gets 1 cube. Ooh, okay. Don't mind if I do. Iron Fist is low power. I don't want it in the Baxter building. So we'll go here. Pop that over. Playing another movement deck. I was gonna Vulture, but I definitely like the Hulkbuster play better. Alright, so we're already guaranteed like 16 here, which is really good. Well, that was very much in my favor. Gotta love X-Mansion. Okay, let's just Vulture this lane. Play my own Kraven there. Vulture here. And then I'm gonna Cloak here to move the Vulture back. And then I'm gonna have 2 really strong lanes with the Heimdall in the last turn. Okay, that's interesting. I think I still like the vulture play. Problem is, if he just doesn't move anything, and we both Heimdall here, then he wins. I think. Oh no, because I'm doubling this. Oh no, he'd still win. This is tricky. You know what? I think maybe I Heimdall here. That leaves the vulture behind here. I might be galaxy braining this. Maybe I overthought it. We're about to find out. I think I win this lane. Doctor Strange? I win. I mean, I would have won if he Heimdalled too, so it worked out.
Victory.
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh. Oh man. This is good. This is good. Okay. So we'll do this, this, this. Snap.
Oh, snap.
Like, worst case Ontario, we don't draw any other movement cards. They're getting bopped this way, bopped this way. I can vulture here, and, like, that'll be a lot of power. That's setting up for multiple man. My multiple man would be stronger. He doesn't have Hulkbuster if he set it up like this, or if he does, then he's set it up wrong. That's actually not bad for Heimdall, because Heimdall doesn't move. I think I just dropped the Vulture this turn. I can drop Spider-Man on 5. This deck doesn't run any 5 drops, so that's a guaranteed play on 5. Okay, he's got Human Torch. This will leave behind a 7. I think I go here with Spider-Man. Okay. Cloak is interesting. We're in kind of a shitty spot for Cloak, though. I can only move one thing with Cloak. Like, cloaking here is pointless, because I'm Heimdalling. Actually, you know what? You know what we do? trying to think of where the Iron Fist goes. Iron Fist goes here, I think. That's what we do. I could just do this. Either that or I leave the vulture there. I move the cloak back here so the Human Torch gets pushed one more time. That'll move 3 there, those 2 into there, and then I can Heimdall here. I think that's my best bet. Oh, this is the final turn. Oh my god. I thought I had one more turn left. Okay. I think wait, I still make that play. Sorry. Here, here. Heimdall here. That's what we do. That was hard. We got there. I'm not 100% confident. We'll see how it goes. There's so many movement versus movement. There's so many different permutations and combinations. I think I just wanted Landis though, with my opponent playing as Heimdall mid. Oh, I just went.
Victory.
All planned. That's exactly what I thought would happen. 100%. Okay. -3 power. Probably gonna drop Craven. I think I drop Craven here. What deck runs Domino? Cerebro 3? It's the only deck that I can see that being decent in. Ooh, okay. Is this gonna work how I think it's gonna work with Hulkbuster on the next turn? Do this, and then we just do this. Oh god, please tell me this is gonna work, like, incredible. Okay, gotcha.
Opponent snapped.
Well, I mean, I'm feeling pretty confident in this play, so I'm gonna stay in here.
Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man here.
Okay, I see why he snapped. That's fine. I got my play off. Do I just not play in, like, Heimdall next turn? I'm thinking of not playing because I want to push as many of these as possible this way, right? For maximum Craven. And I just like Heimdall here. Because playing like Cloak is just gonna do the same thing I'm gonna do with Heimdall. These are just gonna be less power than Craven and the multiple men since they're not moving. So I think I just pass.
I am Iron Man. I am Iron Man.
That worked out very well. I think I snapped.
Oh, snap.
Hey, I think I've got this. I'm not sure why he... Yeah, exactly. Like, he was guaranteed to lose there. I'm not... Like... I see it a lot still at my rank, surprisingly, where people get, like... hyper-focused on one lane. Like, I see it all the time with Iron Man. People go Iron Man, Onslaught, and they get like a huge lane, and then I just win the other two. You know, like people tend to get hyper focused on that Onslaught Iron Man combo. But we take those. Well, thank you for watching my highlight video. Now I thought I'd throw in a little section at the end for those of you that thought, hey, this deck looks interesting, I want to try it. Well, I'll give you a little deck breakdown, nice little bonus content. So, deck list right there. Feel free to copy that. But now let's get into the deck. So, first up, you've got 4 key cards that kind of move your stuff around, or bop it around as I like to say. So, first up is your 1-drop Iron Fist. I'm sure you're familiar with this card. On reveal, moves the next card you played 1 location to the left after it reveals. Very, very strong card in this deck. Now, it's important to note you don't always want to play this on turn 1. You really want to think, what card am I playing next, and do I want to bop it 1 to the left? So don't just drop it on 1. You know, if you drop it on 1 and then you're playing like a not movement payoff on 2, you've just wasted your Iron Fist. It's a very valuable card. So again, this is going to be a theme with this deck, but you got to think a turn or 2 ahead a lot of the time with this deck. So that's Iron Fist. Up next, we have Cloak. Cloak is a very powerful card. If you drop this on an empty lane, you can move 3 of your move payoff cards into here, get 3 of them buffing up. Alternatively, you can combo this with Craven, because Cloak lets your opponent move cards into that lane too. So maybe you drop it in a lane that they have some empty cards, and you drop it with Craven, and so if your opponent moves into there, it'll buff up your Craven. This works especially great if you drop Craven on the following turn, especially if you're revealing first, because then you can kind of surprise your opponent and get all the nice little buffs from all the cards they moved into the Cloak lane, and then you also, Craven gets buffed from the cards you're moving in, your cards get buffed from just moving them in. Cloak is a great card, but again, you have to be thinking, do I want to move cards next turn, and where do I want to move them to? And I'll keep that in mind too. You're setting everything up for your Heimdall, so usually you don't want to Cloak in the left lane, because then you can't Heimdall everything, right? So there's a lot to kind of go in there, a lot to consider with Cloak, but it's a very powerful card. Up next is Doctor Strange. It's a bit easier, it just pulls your biggest thing. It's a little bit of a win more card, in the sense that your biggest thing might already be a highly buffed up Vulture or Human Torch, so you're going to buff that up even more. But basically, Doctor Strange plus your super buffed Vulture and Human Torch should win you 1 lane, and then that allows you to put everything else, your whole entire focus, on the next lane. So that's kind of where Doctor Strange's power is. Alternatively, if you've buffed up your multiple man, then it can pull it around and just help enable more multiple man shenanigans. So those are kind of the 2 uses for Strange. It's still a good card, but I would say it's probably like the least important of the movement cards. And then finally, you have Heimdall. This is your big 6-drop. Your whole game plan, you're playing around how is Heimdall gonna move everything. Okay, I'm putting stuff here, 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 because when Heimdall moves it, this will move here, here, and here, and it's gonna end up like this. Your whole game plan is basically setting up for the big Heimdall play, because you just get so many payoffs when it moves. You know, if you got your 4 payoff cards out, you got 4 cards that are really buffing themselves off of Heimdall's ability, plus you get 8 power off of Heimdall. It's a lot of power coming out on turn 6. It's fantastic, huge payoff for this deck. Now, we'll get into the 6 movement payoffs. Up first, you've got Human Torch. Human Torch, very simple, moves double its power. So, there is one little trap you have to be careful with the Human Torch. It's very easy to just bop the torch around, and now all of a sudden you've got a 32 power torch. Great, that's going to win you one lane. How do you win the other lane if you dumped all of your resources in powering up the torch, right? Don't fall into that trap. Usually, you know, something, let's say like a 16 power torch is good enough. So buff it up a bit, but make sure you spread the love. And that's the other common theme of this deck. The 2 themes are plan ahead and spread the love. So Human Torch is a very powerful card. I mean, for 1 energy, you're going to be getting like an 8. Like, you're probably like at least an 8. Even if you get a 4, that's still like an Ant-Man, which is a good card, right? Like, so it's a very powerful card. Up next, you got Dagger. Dagger is, you have to focus on what your opponent's doing. You want to play it in a lane where it's going to get moved into a lane where your opponent has a lot of cards. Dagger can absolutely pop off. I definitely undervalued this card when I unpacked it, and I didn't realize its true power when I played it. You know, I've had games where, well, first of all, if you move it into a location where your opponent has 4 cards, that's already at 9. You've already got a 2-9. Like, that's insane on its own. And then if you get to move it a couple times, like, it's really good. Up next, you got Multiple Man. So if you're kind of watching this video and you're missing some of the pool 3 cards like Dagger and Human Torch, this is your win con most of the time. And if you have Dagger and Human Torch, this is maybe more of a backup win con if you don't get those. It's a good card either way. The idea with Multiple Man is you want to buff it up. You buff it up, say you buff it up to like a 7 power. Now it's leaving behind 7 power copies everywhere, and you kind of just spam it around the board, and that ends up being pretty good. If it's not buffed up, it still has uses, but you want to be careful you don't spread around too much and block yourself out. You do have to be, if you're only doing it as a 3 power, you have to be cognizant of your board space. You maybe only want to move it once or twice. So you have to really think that through with Multiple Man of how much board space is this going to leave me if I bop it around a bunch. So just watch out for that. But if you've buffed it up, it's usually the right play to bop it around a bunch. Vulture is kind of like, you know, it's almost like a budget Human Torch, really. Instead of exponential multiplying by 2 every time, it's just a static 5 power every time. It serves the same purpose. You can buff it up a bunch, it'll win you a lane on its own, and then you can focus on the other lane, basically. Or if you got it and Human Torch out, you kind of, if you can, you try to buff them both up a bit, and then have them in different lanes, and now you got 2 powerful cards in 2 different lanes. It is another very powerful card. Great card for this deck. Again, just don't fall into the Human Torch thing where you only buff this up, and now you have one huge lane and then nothing else, right? And then we also have, so those are kind of like the big 4. I'd say those are your big 4 payoffs. And then you have Craven, which is still a pretty big payoff too on its own. It requires a little bit more work sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't quite get as big, not as consistent as the others sometimes. But Craven, card moves in this lane, gets +2 power. This card is great with Cloak, as I mentioned before, because it triggers off your opponent's movements. So if your opponent moves cards into Cloak, it'll get buffed. If it's in a lane with 4, and then you move all the 4 with Heimdall, it's going to get buffed up a lot too, especially if you've already buffed it up a bit by moving some of those 4 into that lane. So it can also get fairly big for a 2-drop. Like, even if you only get 2 triggers, it's a 2/6. It's a pretty powerful card already, right? So Craven is another good one. And then lastly, this one's more of a static benefit. It doesn't benefit from a lot of movements, but you got Miles Morales Spider-Man. So this reduces cost to 1 if a card moved last turn. This was especially great for the Bifrost event because this deck doesn't run 5 drops, and you could drop it for 1 on 5, which is great. Basically, in this deck, it always ends up being a 1 energy, 5 power card. And if I just told you, hey, there's this 1 energy, 5 power card, you're going to be like, damn, that's really good. I'm going to include that in like all my decks. So that's kind of what Miles Morales Spider-Man is for this deck. It's a 1 energy, 5 cost card. So it's just good value. It's just good value. So that covers kind of the 4 movement cards along with the 6 payoffs, but there's still 2 cards we haven't touched yet. We have Chavez in the deck, which I'll get to at the end, but the big one is Hulkbuster. Hulkbuster, it combos very nicely with 2 cards specifically, Human Torch and Multiple Man. So if you're relying on the Multiple Man because you're missing some of the other payoffs from Pool 3, you're Hulkbustering your Multiple Man. This gets it up to 7, and then you can bop around a bunch of 7 power Multiple Mans. It's great. Human Torch, you throw it on Human Torch, now instead of a 1-2, it's a 1-6. And now the first time you move it, it goes from 6 to 12 instead of going from 2 to 4. So it's really good on both those cards. You really have to plan around Hulkbuster. You want to ensure that you're getting it on the right card. So your Multiple Man or your Human Torch, you're generally playing them by themselves. And then you want a Hulkbuster on that lane, so it's guaranteed to go on that card. If you were to like Human Torch and then play like a Cloak and then like a Hulkbuster, it's only 50% chance going on your Torch. So watch out for that. You want to plan around, again, a lot of planning ahead and stuff. When you're dropping your Torch, drop it in an open lane so you can Hulkbuster it later. You drop your Multiple Man, drop it in an open lane so you're Hulkbustering it later, right? Again, planning ahead. So that is one of the big combos, as I mentioned, Hulkbuster with those 2 cards. There's also another good interaction with Hulkbuster, that's Iron Fist. So you drop Iron Fist, and you drop Hulkbuster. Hulkbuster combines with that card, and then that combined card gets bopped over. So you drop Iron Fist in a different lane, you drop Hulkbuster to merge with your Human Torch to get it up to 6, and then it gets bopped over by the Iron Fist ability to get it up to 12. So through 4 energy and 2 cards, you just got your Human Torch from a 2 to a 12 in 1 turn. And you play an additional 2 power elsewhere. It's very good. You can do the same thing with Multiple Man, the exact same combo. There's also a nice little combo with Iron Fist and Cloak and Craven, actually. Because the one issue with Cloak and Craven together is you can only move 2 of your things. Now, let's say you have Craven down. You can Iron Fist to drop it in a different lane, Cloak the Craven lane. Iron Fist is going to bop the Cloak out of that lane, giving you another spot that you can move cards into, because Cloak, on reveal, both players can move cards to this location. So when Cloak gets bopped away, that doesn't affect the location you can move cards into. The location you can move cards into is where you first dropped Cloak. So Cloak gets bopped away, you've now got 3 spaces to move into. That's extra buffs on your Craven. That's 1 extra card you can get buffed through movement. So that's a nice little combo too. Don't sleep on the Iron Fist to bop the Cloak away to let you move your more cards into the Cloak lane. So those are kind of some nice combos. And then the last card we'll go into is Chavez. She doesn't usually get played. She's for consistency. The whole deck you're playing around Heimdall and 6. So kind of by turn 5, you need to know if you're going to have Heimdall or not. And on top of that, you want to draw all of your other combo pieces by turn 5, because movement doesn't really work as well if you're just trying to play a bunch of movement cards on 6. So Chavez increases your odds of drawing your combo pieces before 6, and it basically makes it so you know if you're going to get Heimdall, if you'll have Heimdall or not by turn 5, so you can plan accordingly. It's very rare you actually play Chavez, because Heimdall is 1 power less and it buffs everything else up. The only time you really play Chavez is if you don't actually draw into your Heimdall. Then it's kind of a backup, decent body you can play. Hopefully you can still eke out the victory. So yeah, basically, I guess if I were to sum up this deck, there's a couple things you really need to focus on, as I mentioned. Spread the love, don't get hyper-focused on 1 lane. Remember, you have to win 2 lanes and snap. Okay, how are you going to win 2 lanes? Always have that in mind. And the other thing is plan ahead. This deck does require a turn or 2 planning ahead, so you have to really think, what am I doing next turn based on how you play this turn. And if you do that, I think this deck will give you a lot of success. And for those of you who I mentioned before, if you don't have, say, like the Human Torch or the Dagger or the Miles Morales Spider-Man, you're looking at going all in on the multiple man. So you're looking at including stuff like Forge, Ironheart. Those are probably the 2 I would, off the top of my head, that I would include because those will buff your multiple man. Even a card like Nightcrawler has a little bit of use. It's not like great, but it can help buff up your Kraven. So there are still some other cards for you people that maybe don't have the Human Torch and Dagger. Once again, thank you for watching. I hope you liked this deck breakdown, and I hope to see you all on my stream. I stream Thursdays from 4 to 7 Eastern, and Saturdays and Sundays from 10:30 to 1:30 Eastern. So don't be shy. Drop by, have a good time, and hopefully we win some cubes. In the meantime, I hope you have a great day.